Doncic might be the best player left in these playoffs. Who else could have taken this Mavericks team to the conference finals? Probably nobody. Only Luka. That's who. That's it. Luka's too skilled, too poised, too clutch, too smart, too every damn thing.
Before Luka Doncic ever touched an NBA court, there was already a myth surrounding him. Not the kind built by hype videos or social media stands, but the type you hear in hushed tones from grizzled scouts who've been around long enough to know the difference between potential and problem. Luka wasn't supposed to be this good this early in this league. Not by the traditional blueprint. Not by the rules that usually gatekeep international players with unorthodox games. But Luka Doncic made those rules look like they were written in crayon. By 13, he was already training with Real Madrid's senior team, making grown men look silly in scrimmages. At 16, he was playing in Spain's top professional league, not just surviving, but thriving. He wasn't dunking from the free throw line or flexing after every play. He was dissecting teams with a surgical IQ, manipulating defenders with hesitation dribbles and passes thrown 2 seconds before anyone else even knew they were open. Scouts were confused. How can a guy that's slow, that chubby looking, that cocky, completely dominate the second best league in the world? But Real Madrid knew. Slovenia knew. Anyone who watched him cook the EuroLeague MVP as a teenager knew. The NBA, though, the NBA still had questions. How can someone this unathletic, this heavy, outplay entire teams with ease? On 2018 draft night, Luka's name fell further than anyone expected. And that was the moment the league accidentally created a monster. Luka Doncic was picked 3rd overall by the Atlanta Hawks in the 2018 NBA draft. But before anyone had a chance to digest that decision, the deal was already in place. Luka would be traded to the Dallas Mavericks, a move that would define both franchises for the next decade. It was a moment that encapsulated the kind of perception versus reality gap that the NBA often wrestles with. The Hawks were trying to build around Trae Young, a player who had shown flashes of brilliance. But that's not what the Dallas Mavericks were worried about. They wanted Luka, plain and simple. It wasn't just that Luka was an obvious fit for the modern game with his unparalleled passing, high basketball IQ, and elite scoring instincts. He had a killer mentality, the kind you only see in the most relentless competitors. Luka wasn't coming into the league as a project. He was a finished product. His jump shot was a work in progress. But his court vision, leadership, and overall basketball intelligence were so far beyond his years that it became clear early on. This wasn't just another highly touted European prospect. Luka Doncic was the future. The first game Luka Doncic played in the NBA wasn't just a performance, it was a statement. A 19-year-old kid from Slovenia, a kid who had been playing professionally in Europe for years, strolled onto the court in the American game's biggest stage like he owned the place. Opening night, against the Phoenix Suns, Luka put up 18 points, 8 rebounds, and 4 assists, immediately making his presence felt. That wasn't the statement, though. The real one came when he turned around and hit clutch shots in the 4th quarter. His ice-cold demeanor, his refusal to back down from any challenge, made it clear that Luka wasn't just another rookie looking to figure things out. He was here to take over. As the season went on, Luka continued to shatter expectations. Not only was he racking up triple-doubles like it was no big deal, but his impact on the game was felt in every aspect. He was leading the Mavericks in scoring, rebounding, and playmaking, already a walking triple threat. When the dust settled on the season, Luka Doncic had racked up 21.2 points, 7.8 rebounds, and 6 assists per game, finishing 2nd in Rookie of the Year voting. His impact on the floor wasn't just about stats. It was about the aura of a player who could take over any game at any moment. As Luka's sophomore season approached, there was no question about who the face of the Dallas Mavericks was. It wasn't just because he was the most talented player on the roster. It was because he was the most important. With veteran Dirk Nowitzki officially hanging it up, the Mavs needed a new direction, a leader who could carry the torch into the next era. Luka Doncic was more than ready for that role. Not only did he have a combination of physical and mental gifts that made him an impossible matchup for defenders, but he also had that intangible it factor, confidence in spades. The Mavs started to build their team around Luka's style of play. They surrounded him with shooters, floor spacers, and defenders who could allow him to do his thing. Luka wasn't just the future of the franchise. He was its foundation. His ability to manipulate pick and rolls, create open shots for his teammates, and make decisions in real time made him the centerpiece of every Mavs possession. It didn't take long for the league to realize that Luka wasn't just another player. He was a generational talent, someone who would change the direction of a team and a franchise's history forever. Luka Doncic's first taste of playoff basketball came sooner than anyone expected. By his 2nd season, the Dallas Mavericks were already competitive, finishing the 2020-2021 season with a solid playoff spot. But the most memorable moment came not in the regular season, but in the first round of the playoffs. Luka went head-to-head against the mighty Los Angeles Clippers, a team that had playoff pedigree and star power on its side. Luka Doncic, however, wasn't fazed. If anything, he thrived in the spotlight. Luka's Game 1 performance was nothing short of magical. He dropped 42 points, 7 rebounds, and 9 assists, leading the Mavs to an upset victory on the road. The Mavs ultimately lost the series in 7 games. But Luka's performance on the court showed something undeniable. He was built for the big moments. He was already an NBA superstar, and with every game, his legacy was cementing itself as one of the league's brightest stars. His ability to perform under pressure was a huge indicator that this wasn't just a fluke. Luka Doncic was an elite talent, and the NBA had no choice but to acknowledge it. Luka's rise didn't stop with just the playoffs. In fact, it was in the seasons that followed where he truly became a household name, not just in Dallas, but across the league. The NBA took notice of Luka's game and started featuring him in marquee matchups, primetime games, and all-star appearances. Luka became a regular in the MVP conversations, and with each passing year, his game seemed to elevate. His signature step-back three-pointer became a weapon that opponents feared. His passing was creative and visionary, often leaving defenders scrambling and coaches speechless. Luka was not just another good player. He was the kind of player who made the rest of the league take notice. The Mavericks were no longer just a team with a great European talent. They were a true contender in the West, led by Luka's brilliance on and off the court. As the season progressed, Luka's numbers continued to climb, and his ability to completely change the flow of a game became a regular occurrence. Whether it was his clutch shots or his perfect passes, Luka's name started to become synonymous with the future of the NBA. As Luka's career continued to evolve, the inevitable comparisons to other greats began. The most frequent one, LeBron James. The similarities were undeniable. Both players possessed a rare combination of size, skill, and basketball IQ. Both had the ability to score at will and create for teammates with a level of ease that only a handful of players could ever dream of. But what was truly remarkable about Luka's rise was the way he continued to evolve in his own unique direction. While LeBron James had his early years of athleticism and power, Luka's evolution was more cerebral, more subtle. He didn't rely on overpowering defenders or out-jumping opponents. Instead, he used his impeccable footwork, basketball IQ, and exceptional court vision to manipulate defenses and create opportunities for his teammates. As Luka reached new heights in the NBA, the conversation shifted. No longer just a comparison to LeBron, but a conversation about where Luka's place in NBA history would be. By the time Luka reached his 4th season, the conversation around him had changed entirely. The Mavs were now firmly established as one of the NBA's top teams. Luka's game had continued to evolve, and his leadership was starting to become a driving force behind the Mavericks' success. The 2021-2022 season marked a major milestone for Luka and the Mavs. The team made a deep playoff run, shocking critics and proving that Luka's talent wasn't just a one-off or a fluke. His performances in the playoffs, especially against the Utah Jazz, showed just how much he'd grown as a player. No longer just a young prodigy, Luka had developed into a force to be reckoned with in every aspect of the game. He wasn't just scoring. He was facilitating, playing defense, and making winning plays down the stretch. The team rallied behind his leadership, and the Mavericks began to look like legitimate championship contenders. By now, Luka Doncic was a household name, but more importantly, he was a franchise player with legitimate championship aspirations. With the Mavericks team starting to take shape around him, the pressure began to mount. The question wasn't if Luka could become the face of the league. It was when the Mavs would finally make it to the promised land. With every season, his MVP-like performances continued to fuel the hope that a championship was within reach. The challenge was whether the Mavericks could build a team around him capable of competing at the highest level. But if there was anyone who could lead them there, it was Luka. His ability to elevate his game and the players around him gave the Mavs something every championship contender needs: hope. As Luka Doncic's career continues to unfold, one thing is clear: he is far from done. Every season, he continues to show new layers to his game, expanding his playmaking, leadership, and scoring. He's more than just a player. He's a generational talent who, with each year, is carving out his own legacy. Whether or not he wins a title in the coming seasons is up for debate, but one thing is undeniable: Luka Doncic is already one of the most impactful players in NBA history. And with every move he makes, the NBA's future is being written in real time by one of its brightest stars. The story of Luka's rise is far from over, and the best is still to come. Whether he wins championships or breaks records, one thing is for sure: Luka Doncic's name will be remembered for years to come.